All right, welcome everyone. This is a Viper Professional Training and Sport webinar. Today's date is Monday, March the 6th, 2017. And the title of tonight's webinar is Training on ObjectTrader, the PM, and the Wedge. And as everyone knows that's been to our webinars or our live trading room, everything that we say and do at Viper Trading Systems is for educational purposes only. Futures trading, Forex trading, any kind of financial instrument trading involves risk. Therefore, there's always risk of loss. You should only trade discretionary capital, and that is money that you can afford to lose. Nothing said in this webinar. Other webinars we might have, our live trading room or anything else with Viper Trading Systems, should never be construed as trading or investment advice. And as always, everyone does trade at their own sole discretion. Any questions on the disclaimer? All right, if not, we're going to go ahead and get started. By the way, we did not get the region trader as of yet today. I thought we would, but it's not ready quite yet. All right, but I'll go ahead and put up a screen because this is what we're going to talk about tonight. And that's the title of the webinar anyway, so I guess we're staying on track. The new improved Object Trader coming soon. I put a $sign there because I think it will make you money. And tonight we're going to talk about the Wedge Trader and how to use it. This is a new wedge tool that we've designed. It can be used to draw rays on your charts, to take the trade in real time. And also we're going to talk about trading the micro lightning swings with the PM Trader, which is all new. Nobody's got it yet. This is for your lightning 1 and 2 trades. And then we'll talk about some of the new auto features that you can scale in, scale out, and max contracts and some other auto features. Okay, so this will be recorded. It'll be on the site. And this webinar is dedicated to Zachary William, Grandpa's new little boy. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started here. Bear with me a second. I'll go ahead and bring up a couple of charts here first off. All right, you should be able to see a couple of charts. Now, what I am liking to do on the new wedge type trader, I'll show you how to turn that on, Brent. Brent's want to know, how do you turn on the Object Trader? Well, Object Trader is actually a strategy, and any strategies you have to always make sure that you've got a data feed going. Tonight we're using Market Replay, okay? And so if a data feed is going, you just simply right-click on your chart, go to Strategies, and Object Trader is right there. Okay, now I don't have any other strategies except for Object Trader because that's really all we have, and I don't really use anybody else's stuff. All right, so Object Trader is actually right there, and all you have to do, if it wasn't there, of course, if you pull up right-click, you just simply double-click it, Object Trader. And before you put it on your chart, you can actually drop a little drop-down arrow and put it on your live account, obviously. But tonight we're going to be doing replay mode. Okay, and let me show you this new feature that we did add right here. We did add a max quantity, and what that max quantity means is that even if you start with 1 contract or 2 contracts or whatever, you won't be able to trade over the max number that you put in here. Okay, and the reason for that is because there's some auto features on Object Trader now, like bar close, to give an example, that you wouldn't want it to just let it run. You know, for instance, if you had, let's say that you had bar close right here where this started breaking up a little bit or boxed in at mid-band. If you had bar close turned on with even 1 contract, that one closed up, that one closed up, that one did, that one did, that one did, that one did. So see, you would already have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 contracts, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, see 15 contracts. You don't want to just let that thing go to town like that, obviously, right? Okay, so we did put in max quantity. So you can choose how many contracts you want there. I played around with 5. You know, I think we'll probably default it out there at 5. A lot of people had asked for that. But you can put it to whatever you want. Even if it's defaulted at 5, let's say that you get it like this, and it's defaulted like that. All you got to do is change it, right-click, and set that as your default. Okay, any parameter in here you can change and set as your default. Now before this goes out, I think we're going to get rid of Time Trader. Time Trader has a lot of zones down here, zone 1 through 10. That takes up a lot. Actually, we only used 3 of them. We cut it down last time, but I think we'll probably take it out. Okay. Now, one thing you can also do, by the way, see this disable on order rejection? Let's say that a person had let's just say you had a $3,000 account and you tried to place 4 contracts on crude oil. Well, that's not going to fly because crude oil is about $1,000 a contract, right, for margin. So if this was actually set to true, it would reject the order and it would actually disable the strategy if you wanted to do that. That's kind of a little safe protection that's in there. It's been in there for a long time. I just saw it just a minute ago and thought I'd let everybody know about it, because that can be set to Boolean true or false. Okay. And we've also got other things in here that we've added. Let me get this open a little bit so you can see it. You can actually auto-enable your LS, which is long and short, obviously, on your VIP trend, which is for your PM1 and PM2 trades. You can actually automatically do that just by turning it to true. But we did also put a checkbox in it, so you don't have to actually do this, but it is in here where you can default it to true and then you can turn it on and off anyway, or you can default it to false and turn it on or off. Okay. We've also added require VIP trend on PM1, PM2. Now what that is, it won't take trades short if you've got a long background and a long midband, and you can disable that from the strategy itself. So we're going to probably put these out like this with false. Okay. Some of our people ask for exit on close to be able to be enabled permanently. You can now do that. I think I went over that in the last webinar, but you can turn that on if you want exit on close to always be used on your charts. And you've even got auto orders enabled, auto disable on reverse. You've got just all kinds of things that you can actually use in here. We're going to probably leave them defaulted more than likely like this. Okay. Now, when you start Object Trader, you notice that it goes to region trade. Now, region's being revamped as we speak. So right now it goes to true on short enabled and also long enabled. Okay, you can set that to false if you want. Okay, let me show you what that does. We'll just go ahead and put Object Trader on a chart. And what that means is, see how that's long enabled, short enabled? So, now the way you do a region is you hit insert and you would simply, move it where you want it or whatever, and then hit enter and it would take the trade if it breaks out above long or below short, right? Well, the new region is going to actually be to where you'll be able to just simply draw the rectangle on your chart and be able to move it live and everything on the chart, and it'll fire. Not ready just yet. I was wanting to show it tonight, but he got it about 3/4 of the way through, and we just didn't get it far enough to get it shown. But that's okay. All right. So when this is actually just a box, where you can draw the box, like we say box it in, we may want to go ahead and do these to disabled when it first comes up. That way you choose what you want it to do. Okay. So to do that, of course, you just simply go to strategy. You have to disable. See how this is all grayed out when it's on your chart already? You just have to go to disable it. In other words, enabled false. Click apply. All right. And then we just simply go up here and turn these to false instead. And then you would simply set that as your default. Okay. I'll go ahead and do that for right now. And just click it on. And you'll notice when you actually put Object Trader on the chart, I'll go ahead and remove it and put it back on so you'll see it. We'll just hit OK, no Object Trader, right? So we'll put it on and click OK, and you'll notice that it's disabled. So that way when you draw a box, you're going to be the one that says whether or not you want to take a long or a short. Okay? Now we can put these in any order that you guys and gals want. Right now region is up at the top, bar close is below, wedge is going to be underneath it, PM1 and PM2. we're going to do away with the ray trade and the sniper trade and the time trade, I think. Okay, because the ray trade, basically, you hit the insert button, it's cumbersome. If you've ever used it, it's cumbersome. That's the best way I could say it. Because to do a ray, to give an example, if I want to do a ray, I have to hit insert, I have to drag it to wherever I want it on my chart, like this, and then turn this on. And then, is it active yet, everyone? No, you got to hit enter. And if you wanted an offset, you got to set your offsets. See what I mean? So there's a little bit to that ray. Okay, so we could leave it in there if y'all want to keep it as far as that goes. It does a great channel, but you can do a channel with the new one too. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get this one off. All right, now the new ray or wedge is actually just simply put it in wedge mode. It'll always go to disabled up here, so you'll have to turn it on. And let's say, for instance, that I wanted to, I like this particular trade, by the way, if it happens to roll over. See how this does a wicked candle and then it tries to pop up? You could take your wedge and your ray and just draw it like so. And this is your high right over here. You know, is that actually, you got a high, a low, a lower high, and a lower low. High, low, that doesn't count, does it? So this is actually, you know, could easily hit its head and roll over, couldn't it? So we could actually activate that wedge by simply turning the short out of it on, and if it closes below it, it would go ahead and fire the trade. Now, we don't know if it's going to get that or not, but that would be the idea that I would be looking at on that particular chart right now, if it doesn't hit its head. Now, if it takes this out and goes up, then we'll look for, you know, even a different trade. Okay, now this is a little bit larger bar, so it gives you a little bit more ability to use the wedge, I think, a little bit easier. Yeah, I can show a long and a short out of the wedge. You want to, you know, for instance, you want to see what that would look like? Let's go like this. That looks to be about straight, doesn't it, right there? That look about right to you? And let's move it just a little bit so that we can get at least a little bit of a breakout, just in case. Okay, and that would be two wedges right there. That would be actually long on that wedge. That's the top one. So you do that. And this would be the wedge underneath. And you would do that. Okay, you can even do touch. You can do touch plus. You can do close. You can do close plus. You can do anything you've always been able to do with the region with this new wedge trade. Okay, now I've had this paused for quite a while, so you know, market replay sometimes doesn't actually give me as accurate of a trade as, you know, when you're doing your account and things, but let's just try it. Let's just see if we can get some kind of trade here. I'll go about 15 times normal speed and see if we can get something. We'll do, say, 4, just for the fun of it, see if we get something. But see how easy that would be to do on setting up a wedge like that? Now notice that's just a straight top, and then I've got a wedge underneath the prices. So we'll see which one fires. Now I don't personally like a breakout trade, but we'll go ahead and take this if it breaks up. About 5:30 in the morning, I'll speed it up a little bit more. Hopefully it's not too fast for it. How would you have it to flip if it goes one way and then the other? That's another beauty of it, Dan, on your question. Let's say that it did actually pop up here and fire along. You can actually then quickly turn on your reverse and leave this one active, and then if it happened to come back down through it, it would fire you not only out of the trade but reverse it. The beauty of this new wedge is actually that you're going to be able to take NinjaTrader's Ray tool and simply draw a wedge or a simple ray on the chart. It would reverse after, well, let's say for instance that you got a little breakout, okay, and it started going up, but then it immediately reversed. Well, if you left this ray on right here, you could just simply turn reverse on. Let's see, much too complicated sticking with the old system. Just want to know how to do PM and okay, that's fine. Now this isn't really complicated though, by the way. I don't think. I think you'll like it. I've used this ray quite a bit, and truthfully, most of the time you're going to want it to close. You know, you can do touch. You know, you can do touch plus or whatever. But you know, a closed bar is a little more accurate. Now these are pretty good sized bars. So I'm going to go ahead and do a touch on this one if it happens to touch it. We'll see if we can get something. See if it's going to do it. Now if it doesn't do it, and like I said, when I've had this paused for quite a while, I've seen that it doesn't actually do it the very first time, and that's not something that's wrong with the system. It's simply that, you know, it's literally just been paused, and the object trader doesn't even know there's actually a trade on the chart. See if we can get something. We did get a PM meter, by the way. Let's see if we get something here. Nothing yet. See, the beauty of this wedge is too that you can move it live while you're on the chart, and you know, it should even fire if you go through a price if you want it to, like if you want to add or something like that. Let's see, but does the reverse have to be activated after it breaks the wedge? Well, the way the region always was, Dan, on your question, was that way, but there it goes. I could actually have it to where the reverse could be enabled, but the way a region has been in the past, you couldn't actually take the trade with a region because it would actually not even take a trade. But I could have him look at the wording on it, because the new PM trade, you could actually put it on reverse and leave it on reverse. Absolutely. Okay, that turned out to be a decent little trade, didn't it? Now, PM trades, Tom, now what those are, I'll go over those here in just a few minutes too. Yeah, this is turning out to be a real nice trade. See, a ray type trade can literally work for you quite handsomely. You know, they do pretty well. Okay. We'll see if we can get a little PM trade. I'm not sure if we'll get a PM trade yet. We'll find out. You want to just add to it if we do? Go to PM, and we'll do, well, since we're actually underneath mid-band, we'll go ahead and look for a short PM. But the only thing about a PM trade is it's got to turn green first. Or I've got to just fire the market order. Let's see if we get a green PM. We may not. If it doesn't, we'll wait for the thrust and the pullback, and then we'll get one. We'll get our target out of the way. Yeah, no green PM yet. Anybody remember this from this morning? We boxed that in. Let's see. There's another little short, by the way. Added some contracts because the PM meter went green, and the red, there we go. All right, you got a pretty nice little trade going so far, right? Now, notice that your PM meter is, see it's going green and then even red. Oh, I think I've got something wrong here. Just one second. I think I see something. Let's check this. Nope, nothing wrong. No, we're good. I think we're just moving fast. That's all it is. Okay. Yeah, we're moving like we were moving 50 times, so that's pretty quick. Okay. Now, you notice, though, that this actually fired on a larger chart with a smaller bar. Exactly. Yeah, you can do that with even the larger bars because it's watching lightning 1 on a 4-range bar. That's why that's changing so fast on these bars, because if you look at the other chart, see what it looks like? See there? Now, let's go ahead and fire a trade on it. See if we can get one. If we turn PM, See if we can get some trade here. PM1 is green, so we need it to go red. It'll go red when it takes out this little area right here or this one here. We'll find out right there. Okay, it's right there. Not a bad little trade too, right? That's a little PM trade. Now, like I was mentioning, we will have the PM predictor or the predictor PM trade set up also. That's going to be a pretty cool little trade too that I think you'll really like. Okay, now what if we wanted to get out of this trade on a PM long, and if that turns green, we'll actually get out of this last contract. We don't even have to use our stop. Our stop, I can get it out of the way, I don't care. But if it turns green on my PM meter, I'll go ahead and fire the trade out. PM meter's still red, we're okay. So the Renko bars are using the there you go, just fired it. Let me slow this down just a little bit. Yeah, you can actually, the beauty of our MTF bars, Mark, is that this, you notice that these power meters are the same, even though this is the larger bar. That's because over here, I've actually got Lightning 1 set on a 4-range chart, even though I'm using a big old 8, a big old 8-range rollover type bar and a 4-range, Renko. Now, when you use a 4-range Renko, you notice that it's not really 4-range. It's not a true range bar. Renkos are different than range bars. So, but it's still going to fire it accordingly. Isn't that cool? Yeah, that's why we designed those MTFs. That stands for multiple tick frame. Okay, let's see if we can get another trade here real quick. And by the way, I'll show you, if you want to see real quick how to even reverse one. I don't know if it'll work out, but let's just reverse one. See, the power meter is red. If it goes green, instead of getting into a trade like this one will actually reverse. See there? We just reversed on that trade. And we fired one on this one. I was looking for the other side, but we fired the wrong side. That's all right. We got some profit on it. Well, it turned out pretty good anyway. See how that predictor actually fired even on this chart before it ever took this out? See where the trade's way down here? Because it was looking over here at this area right here on this, let's see, little thrust, retrace, thrust. It should have been looking about right there, but it fired a little bit earlier, didn't it? That's good. That's fine with me. Okay. Let's see, if you don't have the trend selected, does the predictor automatically take the opposite direction if trend is not indicated? Yes. If you have it in auto mode. For instance, like right now, see, we've got a midband that's red. So if I put it on auto require trend, it won't fire any trades long. Okay. It will let you do it market-wise though. Okay. But if I've got this on require trend, it's only, see, it won't even let me do long. It's turned off. I can only do short on my PM. Now, if this PM turns, it'll actually just take this trade off the table because we're already long on this one because we fired a little PM at the bottom there. And we'll go ahead and leave it just for the fun of it. I'll go ahead and put it like that with exit on close. But if you do have the required trend turned on, you won't be able to take a long trade with the little auto trader part of it. Even a bar close, it won't do it. Let's see here. Can you set both charts for the same PM, please? We actually did on that one just a minute ago. You want to try another one, and I'll set them both. Just a second. Now you can also set this chart over here. Let me go ahead and close this out. You can also set this chart over here if you want, to where it will not have to wait for the bar to close. but I don't think the way that the PM is designed that it waits for the bar to close. I don't think it does. You want to try it real quick? We'll just fire a PM trade on both of them. PM1. See if we get one. Now it should be right below this line. I'm going to draw a line. Should be right below that. It's going to have to close though, unfortunately. When it closes on the line, you got to wait. You got to get that last bar, and that part. That's just part of it. There it is. Okay. Let's see here. We'd probably want to take all of our profit at least by the bottom, and then write a runner. Okay. See how that works? Now, did they fire at the same spot? Let's find out. This one fired at 53.48 1/4. Yep, fired at the same spot. That being said, will it use the predictor trade be a discretionary on our part to determine the likely retracement? Well, Lee, on your question, I would say, well, see, for instance, here's a predictor trade here, here's a predictor trade here. That turned out to be pretty good. Let's go ahead and tighten our stop to the swing. Okay, we'll just tighten our stop to the swing. And like I said, by the way, if you do want to use the feature, let's say that I wanted to reverse this on a PM2. Now, I'm not saying it'll work out. I'm just going to show you how to do it. See, I've got it set for long enabled reverse PM2 right now. Okay, unless it flattens out, and that'd be fine. And I would probably put my stop. Well, let's just let it reverse if it does. We'll just let it do it. See if it does. For some reason, my question log flipped around. It did it on its own. Just a second. Let's see, I'm in the opposite direction when a trend is already established. Lee, on your question, see how that reversed that? Now, I'm not saying that would be a good trade, but notice that instead of using my stop, I actually used a reverse on that. Okay? Now, this one should stop out if they happen to go above here. And we just got stopped on that one. And it looks like our little PM trade's actually working out so far. Will it continue? We'll find out. How do you set the reverse, Dan? You just turn it on. You just have to turn the reverse trade on. Now, I'm not saying that that would be a good trade. By the way, I'd be going for a PM trade right here. And I'd be probably stopping this one out if it even goes at cost. See, that hit resistance right there. And by the way, you can use this also. You can actually use exit on close with reverse too. It's all built into ObjectTrader where you can use all the tools. Let's see, how do you set it to show your trades on your chart, Tom? Well, when you're using market replay, if you reset your timer at all, they all go away anyway. But to do that, you just simply go to your data series. Let me show you real quick. It should show them. We'll find out. We'll put text and marker. No, when you put it on text and marker, it actually reloaded the chart. So it didn't show anything. Now, if I would have started that way, it would have probably been okay. Let's go ahead and do our PM trade. We'll do 5. It should fire right there. See, it did. And this one went short because we turned on the short, exit on close, and reverse. We'll leave our exit on close right up here just in case, and we'll leave our stop in. See if we get stopped out at all or if this thing heads down. Let's see if I'm missing any questions. Yeah, the PM trades, Tom, on your question, what I would probably recommend doing on it to be the most likely to succeed would be to go more trend specific. And if you're in a, like right now, see, we're definitely, you can tell we're in a channel, see it? So for instance, if I was to take this trade right here, I would probably want to take actually literally all of my contracts off. You see what I mean? We call those out in the room. You can always leave a runner on, but you know, when you're sideways like this, you gotta just see the bottom, you know, draw lines at the top and the bottom. How has the PM trades worked on CL? I think the PM trades work quite well, period, actually. We can even add to this, by the way, if we want to, with PM. Watch when it fires it. So you got 10 now. Now that's a lot of contracts, by the way. So I would probably protect it. But just to show you how it works, it will flat, you know, do scale in type trades and everything. It's a pretty cool little trader. And see, we're flat now. Okay. Now, should we go ahead and be flat on this? Probably not, because see, this is actually breaking down. But what do we got to do, Viper traders? We got to wait, right? We got to wait for a retracement. So let's wait. See if we can get a PM trade. Your safest PM trade will be at or near midband. Okay? So what you're going to want to do is look to the left to trade the right. You've got a high here. You got a low here. Like that. Now I would be looking for a trade with a predictor. Yeah, it's pretty cool to use, just like manual trading. Absolutely. We've got another chart that's actually still going over here. See, so this chart we kept going. And by the way, since these are large bars, we can actually turn on bar close long, and it'll get rid of a contract if we happen to run out of, you know, basically run out of gusto. Larger bars, you usually want to take it off on that first bar up. Somebody just asked, could you reverse it? Absolutely. Watch this. We just reversed it. I'm going to get these targets out of the way for just a minute. We're not saying this trade will work out, but somebody asked me if you could reverse that. So I reversed it. Let's try something here. We're flat on this side. Now watch what I was talking about bar close. If I turn that on with auto on, and let's say that I'm in 4 already and I want to add on every bar close, watch what happens if we get a bar close. It'll add 1 at a time. Now we don't know if this is going to work out, right? But let's just see if we can get a little bit of coin on it. I found that when these bigger bars close up, it's at least going up to probably mid-band, right in through here. So could we take some coin if it does? Remember, we even called this trade in the room this morning, come to think of it. Remember when we said it would come to 45.75 and roll over? Now this one here, you want to get as close to mid-band. I like to draw my lines. See, that's mid-band right there. That way you don't get faked into one that's lower like this. We don't really want to take this trade yet. We want it to turn green, and we can go ahead and turn it on now because it is red. So that means it has to turn green before it'll ever fire a trade. And it won't fire it again until it turns red again. So we'll see if we can get something. Oh, it is. You know, Ed, on your question, you're absolutely right. Ed's saying that it's kind of scary at those bottoms sometimes, but those type of trades work. They really do. You know, because what happens a lot of times is that, you know, they do this nice thrust down. See these bars on this larger chart here? Every single one of these was down, 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 all the way except that one. But if you do take a trade like this, it's like any trade. You've got to actually, you know, kind of trust your trade, at least with your stop. I probably wouldn't put an 18 tick stop on it. We've got it on this chart. But let's see if it gets us a little retrace. And this one we got turned on to PM to take a trade to the downside. if that bar closes up, I'm going to protect that trade. Oh, Alex, you joined a little bit later. A little boy, 9 pounds, 1 ounce, 22 inches long, Zachary William. Yeah, pretty cool. Yeah, my little grandbaby told her mother, she's not even 3 yet, but she told her mother, said that if, you have a little boy, she said, put him back inside and wait for a girl. She's sharp as a tack. She amazes me sometimes. She was saying yesterday that she was tired of the wind blowing her hair. Not too many that are not even 3 put those full sentences together. She's pretty amazing. But she'll have 2 big old brothers that'll take care of her too and make sure she's safe. Because her little brother Luke, that's a little over a year now, is a pretty good sized boy. And this kid's evidently pretty good size, being 9 pounds. Pretty good size. And we got to hand it to Charity too, because she went without an epidural on that. So I guess that was pretty amazing too. But mom and baby are resting up. We're going to go see them tomorrow. Now I would probably, let's see, we lucked out on this trade. I was just showing somebody how to reverse a trade like this. Okay, I'm going to definitely protect this trade just in case. See the little, well, we're doing okay on it. How about that? Matter of fact, we can actually do this. We can go ahead and do bar close. We got 7 on, so we'd need to actually change that to like 7 and then do a bar close, and it would take us out of the trade if it happens to bar close. Yeah, they grow them big in Oklahoma. I guess they do. Yeah, we've got this turned on. Notice how we can actually relax knowing that this trade's going to trigger itself. Now, if this just blows up through mid-band, it's not going to trigger at all because it's got to turn red again. See if we get a little bit more on this. Mary says, dear Lord, yeah, it's a pretty good sized boy. They were thinking they were going to have to do a C-section on her, but they didn't have to. Turned out to be just the way the good Lord wanted it to happen. All right, what are we going to get here, guys and gals? See, the reason we're adding these type of trades for everyone is because, we all see them on the charts, so why not automate it? Why not get it to where we can all just say, you know what, I'm not taking this trade until it quits going up. See what I mean? Because how many times have you been faked? Let's say, for instance, that you drew a little box and instead you let touch get it. So you'd already be in that trade short. If you were waiting on close, you're okay. You see what I mean? Yeah, exactly. Ed, you're right on that. You got to have a winning system to do it. And I think that's what we have. We've got something that makes the trades pretty easy to see. Okay, power meter. We've got our bar close turned on. So if this hits its head at the line, we could go ahead and take this trade off. With 7, I'd probably get rid of some anyway. You just simply hit sell like that and get rid of 3 anyway, because it's trying to get up there to the top. You don't have to wait for this bar to totally close down and be a 12-tick bar with 7 contracts. Okay, see how PM just fired that trade automatically? Pretty cool. And we'd have to put our stop just a little bit above. By the way, what if you wanted to do some more contracts? If that goes red again, it may not do it. It's not gone green. Or what if you want to do a PM 2 short? See, it's still green. I could add some contracts if I wanted to. See, anything you want to do is at your disposal there. Now, PM2 is a lightning 2, so that would be a little bit more of a break trade. Hey, I'm going to go to PM1 because it just, well, never mind, it just went red. We'll wait for PM2. Now, everybody realizes that when we talk about boxing this in, because Charles had mentioned boxing this in this morning, and the way you want to box, let me show everybody a little bit more the way you want to box these things. Because what you're looking for, you know, if they come up and they get close to your resistance line that you draw, to give an example, see this candle down, candle up, candle down, you pretty much fire the trade when it closes below that third bar back. So you could be in the trade right there just below that line. Now, ObjectTrader actually fired it just a little lower right there because that particular bar closed. Even though it closed up, it still closed. So it fired it. Look to the left always, trade to right, we're still okay. Let's look at, yeah, we're good. And we'll go ahead and put our stop just above this with exit on close. Notice how you're getting a predictor going back up. These are some things that I start looking for, and we even talked about this in the room this morning, that basically see how it's starting to take out this swing right here. Doesn't mean it's changed directions yet, but it's starting to give you that idea that it might, you know. So could you actually use the tool that we've got? Well, let's try something here. Let's just kill this trade. And let's see if we can get something else. We need a wicked candle, so let's see if it'll wick. That's a wick. See how it's trying to head down with a good wick? So I'll put this on wedge trade. Like that. And we'll do a close just for the fun of it. And we don't know if it's going to do it at all, right? But we do know that it's thrust up, it's trying to consolidate a little bit, and we got a trend line right here, right? So we'll just see if we can get something. I like to wedge things in, and I like to draw boxes and things like that. They flat work. Let's go ahead and add, well, we can't. We've got red power meters, so we can't do a PM. If it never changes to green, it won't do any good to turn it on short because it's already short. Now, a lot of times, too, you can use a trend line to get out of the trade. You know, for instance, see you've got a thrust down, retrace, thrust down. That's that same trend line right there, obviously on a 4 range, like that. And you can actually, let's say that you're in one contract and you want to go ahead and get out of the trade if it takes that out. All you got to do is like that. And if it closes above that line, it would get you out of this trade and it wouldn't reverse it because we don't have reverse on. Okay? Yeah, I can't wait to get this region trade done and also the predictor PM. That's going to be super. Do you find good feels with market orders? Tom, you know, the one thing about it that I personally think, and sometimes you will get a crummy feel, there's no question about that, but the way we teach to where people can get in the trade at the proper time, I think you still get a really good enough feel. Let's see, it hadn't closed above it just yet. If that bar closes, it'll take us out of that trade. This bar closes over here, it'll put us in, see there? Now, would we want to be in this trade long? Maybe not, but let's see where it should go. Looking to the left to trade the right. You got a swing right there that it broke down at. See it? Thrust straight down. So I would make sure that since you're short on this thing, I'd probably take everything off the table if it hit that because we got a short background. You know, you can trade against a trend, obviously, but you have to also realize that you're still got a short going on right now anyway. Now, what would it take to actually change this trade to an upside? Anybody? Well, it's got to take out medium trend and then come back and retrace into it. Greg, you're gonna mainly use the PM, you think? Yeah, you know, that's the one thing about it. We've got the tools in it so that people can use what they want to use, but we're designing the tools so at least somebody can go ahead and do what they want. Let's go ahead and do a PM trade if we get a pullback. If we get a little pullback, we'll try to get a PM trade, or you can box it in too, couldn't you? Now the new box will just simply, you'll just draw like this, and it would fire that trade if it closed above the box. We'll just do it manually if it does, just for the fun of it. Just like we're boxing it. May give us time to draw the actual region. We'll find out. Region, insert. We'll try that. Let's see, Gary, you have the LE entry on so PM won't fire a short trade. You could actually do it both ways. Well, I've got region on here now instead of the PM. But yeah, if I wanted to actually fire either direction, I'd simply turn that on and that on. So you got a little higher low right there. We talked about that this morning in the room too. What would it take to actually change the direction on this trade? Well, first off, you got to look at a couple of different ways, right? It's got to break up, pull back, okay, anywhere into support. It broke out right through here, so I'd be looking for it to pull back into there myself, like that. So, you know, if you don't want the little breakout trade, like boxing it in like we teach, then you'd probably want to wait for the thrust and the pullback. Break above mid-band and higher highs and higher lows. Yeah, it's actually starting to head up, isn't it? See how region just fired that trade too? Now, like I say, I'd probably protect my coin up here at, I don't have my, oh, that's array. That's why. All right, 53.48.75. Yeah, we'll go ahead and protect everything because this is still a short background. Okay. Now, is this actually changing trends right now? Well, the answer is no on that yet, right? But even though we got into a quick long trade, could we do a trade? We got our targets, by the way. That's a phantom trade. PM goes red, we'll get in a trade again. Now, if it just blows up through here, we won't get a trade, will we? Because the PM meter won't change back to red if this happens, just keep blowing up here. I'm going to go ahead and protect my coin on this one. Where would it fire the trade? Anyone? Right there. If it closes above it, it's got to close below it. Now, if it went below it like that and it still closes that bar up, it should fire. I may have that changed. I don't really like that particular bar because to me, a bar should go down if you're going to head down like it's trying to do now. Haven't got the power meter to change yet. May not get it for a bit. We'll find out. I would have thought it would have fired right there, but it didn't. Let's see, have you found a good target level on 3 contracts, especially with the PM method as default. Basically, I just look to the left to trade the right. You know, I see where they've been because they'll always go back. So, you know, you can basically use like 510, you know, 5.7, something like that. I don't like the way that actually, this more than likely didn't trigger that. Let me see if I can see why. Went up, went down. So that's your high, your low, your lower high. I would have thought it would have fired right there, but lightning may not have triggered yet because it obviously hadn't changed it yet. Now, usually when I see this already, I'm already in the trade because to me, if this breaks now, it may be too much of a breakout. But we'll let it anyway and see what it does. Let's see if it breaks this trend line right there. We're not using the wedge, by the way, but let's just see if it gives us a little trade. Now it does show where it should fire. It should fire right underneath midband now. That's out of thrust and retrace now. Does the wedge now have the plus minus feature of the ray? Well, it technically does, Lee, because you can do a close, close plus, touch, touch plus. You just can't tell where it's going to fire. You know, for instance, I'd probably want this trade right here, but let's say that I chose the wedge instead. Let's go ahead and do that. I chose the wedge to do a close below and even say like 4 ticks. It won't even fire this trade till that closes plus 4 ticks, which you obviously wouldn't want to do, right? But just to show you how it calculates, I'll let it go ahead and do it. So it's got to close. Plus 4 ticks. Let's see, that's my bottom wedge. Let me get rid of this one. When you're trying to do a single wedge, always remember you got to make sure you're on the right button here, because either one of these, T or B, can do this trade, but you don't want to really have them both on at the same time if you're on a single line. I'll show you how this will fire. We'll probably just hit close if it does fire, but I want to show you how the close plus actually works. We'll go ahead and do another ray right here, just in case it breaks to the upside. Now, this is definitely your bottom one. This is your top one. See if we get something. Yeah, see, before you had the little offset like the ray had, Lee, but now it's just calculating the prices that line is actually doing on that angle, and it knows where the close of that bar is, and it knows where 4 more ticks is. So it's looking for that trade right now. Not saying you would do this trade. I'm showing you how this close plus would actually work. Now, you don't want to change anything while it's in the middle of trying to trade. Like if I change that to touch and change that to 0, it would be firing already. See what I mean? There's close. Let's see if it gets a trade there at 4. Did not get it, so why not? That's my wedge trade. Yeah, I'm not going to chase it, but that should actually do my touch or my close plus 4. Now, one thing that I've noticed that if you're going to use the, let's see, that one actually, I may have to talk to him and see. That is an actual gravestone doji, open and closed at the exact same spot. And remember, at one time, ObjectTrader wasn't recognizing that, and I'll have to ask him if he's got to recognize that bar as a down bar. So what I'd probably do in real time would be to do something like that and fire it anyway. Just let it touch. But it's a little too late now, but what I'm saying is you can actually move it dynamically on the chart and it should fire. Okay? PM is red. Yeah, but keep in mind we changed it to wedge. We're not in PM trade anymore. Somebody wanted to see this trade. See there? Just touches. Okay? Now I would probably put my stop just above that swing, simply because, is this actually a trend change, or it's looking like it might be? You got a low, you got a high, you got a higher low, higher high. And I would probably, in a case like that, try to get a little PM trade. Want to see if we can get it on the other chart? We'll do a PM trade long. See if we can get a PM trade. So we're short on this one down through our little wedge. Now notice how the ray drawing right there would have been absolutely much better. See that? Entry right there. Did they actually? You know, I was actually gone. I had to take my son to the hospital and everything. But you're saying NQ actually busted up in the afternoon? I wouldn't doubt it. They take them down all morning and then just take it right back up. I would not doubt it at all. Huge move, huh? Now, by the way, if that goes back through a bottom ray like that, you can actually go ahead and even take the trade off the table. Because see, you're getting a PM green now, so I'd probably close that out actually. See how it kind of went back through our trend line? The beauty of this is too, you can remove your rays right on the chart. You know, it's not like you're removing an object type at all. So that's pretty cool. And you can draw as many as you want, and it's really looking at the prices that are nearest the ray. Okay, for instance, if I wanted to draw a ray like this right here in real time, all I'd have to do is like that. And with touch plus 0, it's going to actually fire it if it touches that line above it. See there? Now I'm not saying that'd be a good trade particularly, because I don't like that the PM meter hasn't changed. Let's see, NQ shot off about a dozen up bar strokes. Sweet. Well, that's always a good thing. See, we actually fired over here. Now, what would you do in a case like this, though? If you get in this trade like you're in right now, so you have a low, a high, a higher low, and a higher high. That's your low, right? I would think that would be your low. I wouldn't put my stop way down here, because if this isn't actually a trend change, I'd want to put my stop right through there with the close of the bar. And probably with this big of a bar, I'd put it 3 ticks down and just do it without closing it. Simply because I don't want to wait for like a 12 tick bar to form. Let's fast forward and see what it did. I'll fast forward it like 100 times or something. Yep, it broke up. You want to see what this thing will do? Let's slow it down just a little bit. See how these bars are going straight up like right now? Now, what I could actually do on this, since I've got this many bars up, all I got to do is do this. Turn on bar close since I got a big bar. I got 1 contract left on, and let's see if it gets us out at the proper time. You'll find out plenty of times it does just that. That bar's trying to close down. See if it does. If it doesn't, we'll keep going. So see, our stop can be our bar close. And that thing went to town. I wish I had been here trading. A good old box would have done that one perfectly, wouldn't it? See, the bar went up. If a bar goes down, we'll close it out. You were adding all afternoon. I don't blame you on that. That was a killer move. Now, when they thrust up that much, I don't usually keep my stop like at mid-band, to give an example, because what usually happens when they do this kind of a move, everyone, well, they're not necessarily going to go all the way back down here because they broke out above it, right? But mid-band is 24 ticks down from this top. You know, even on one contract, it's $120, which is not that bad. But isn't this even a better way to do it with these big bars? Just let it bar close. Oh yeah, absolutely, Lee, on your question. You know, the one thing, like I say, I think you'll really like about this particular region, you know, is that you're going to be able to just box it in and let it wait. Yeah, bar close on a larger bar is a good way to get out. I don't recommend it as much on, you know, see, this would have already taken you out and this is still heading up. Let's watch that bar and see if it closes. Pretty good little move, huh? Somebody said, let's try a short. Okay, we'll try a short even if it closes. We'll just go for 5 ticks. Somebody said, give it a try. We'll give it a try. Yeah, when they go up like that, I don't mind actually shorting for a bar if it'll do it. Watch and see if it does. Granted, that's only $25, so I'd probably 25 times 4. It's $100 with 4. Still going up. Monster move after the bell, wasn't it? When this did this thing right here, notice how you kind of came down, back up, double bottomed right here. You could redraw that right through here, and you probably would have entered here. You could have boxed it here, like so. Notice how when they even break up, they still come back and kiss. Gives you a good trade. Let's speed it up a little bit and see when it finally gave up the ghost. That was a heck of a trade. Bigger bar. Just got me a short. Got me a target too. See how when they do that, you can get those quick little targets like that? And then, of course, you could be ready to go again if you happen to get a bar close to the long side. And you'd probably want to put your stop. Let's see here. Now, let's just leave it under mid-band. See if this is actually going to still work out. If it does, it does, right? Oh, I was just talking about basically, Diane, that it just literally went crazy after we closed the room. Never happened on the retracement. Notice how I still got a quick trade on that, though, when that bigger bar closed down. That first time it does it, it usually will give you a good 5 or 10 ticks. You know, it'd be harder to trade this one, but you could have done it with PM. See, it would have been, PM would have turned right on that bar. Well, still heading up, but we already hit our target. Mid-band was perfect again on that, wasn't it? No kidding. Well, that was a monster trade. Now, what would it take to change the direction of this trade if it did actually happen? What does everybody think? Anybody? Because you should be able to see it on your chart already. Right under there, isn't it? So if it takes that out, could it head down? See there? Well, I didn't have my short turned on. I'll still do it. Nope, too late. Way too late. I turned on bar close instead. Everybody see why I would have done that, though? It took out support right there. Now we're going to get stopped on this one, obviously. So let's see if we can get in again. I'm going to take a bar close to the downside. Let's see if we can get it. What goes up that fast, I love those because what it's trying to do, we'll draw some lines. Support, it took it out. Support right through here at 32.50. See there? Not a bad little trade even to the downside. And then we hit flat. Those internal Viper meters seem to put the mid-band just right in real time. They do actually. I was really impressed with, this hit me about a year ago or so. I was thinking about something like this. Look at that. Now, what do you think? Do you think it'll bounce? It's right on support. Oh, we ran out of time. Doggone it. Just ran out of time. Anybody got the chart from later? I'll bet it bounced. And what did I say up front? When they thrust up like that, you've always got to take some coin, because what do? They will come back and check where they broke out. Yeah, it has evolved a lot, hasn't it, Lee? Yeah, ObjectTrader really added a lot to the package because we were able to, really come up with some pretty neat stuff. You don't want to be messing with, like an ATM strategy and stuff like that. You want to use a good tool that'll do what you want it to do. And ObjectTrader, I've gotten really accustomed to just using it all the time. Let's see. Tom said, got here way late. Monitor trouble finally fixed. We'll watch recording. Okay. Yeah, it was recorded, so it'll definitely be on. And we're about 7 minutes over, so I'll go ahead and wrap. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming. Hope you enjoyed it. We're going to be talking about these new tools quite a bit. I would love to get the region trade, but keep in mind that even if we don't get the region trade, let me show you something before I go, just real quick. Let's say we don't get the region trade, but you want to go ahead and take this trade that you think it more than likely will bounce because this is still an uptrend. So you could actually do this. You could draw a resistance line, wedge, long, and you don't want to short it because it's already headed down to support, hadn't it? Right on top of this area here. And looking to the left to trade the right, I would say it would either hit there, and I don't think it would actually go that low. It just doesn't look like it would, because that's major support right there. That was like a triple top. So I'll bet it bounces there. So this could be a region. You could actually set this up like a region, and you could even do this. Something like that right there. And if it pops up and pulls back a little bit, tighten the trend line. We're going to absolutely release it, Tom. If my programmer can't get the region done in time too, he's told me that it's going to be 2 weeks for Predictor PM. So when he says 2 weeks, that kind of tells me he's putting me off because he's got some other work that he's got to get done. And I understand that because he gives us real preferential treatment. But if he gets the region done, we'll go ahead and release it. But if he doesn't get the region done, we'll go ahead and release it. That way you could do the raise anyway. The raise, Diane said she can't wait to get. It does make a great trailing stop, doesn't it, Diane? I agree. They make great trailing stops, especially if you can draw a ray and tell it you want to touch plus, close plus, or whatever. Makes it real easy to use as an actual trail stop. Okay. Thanks, everyone. Hope you enjoyed it. Sorry I ran a little bit over. And if anybody came in late, I'm a brand new grandpa. Got 6 grandkids now. The latest one is Zachary William, 9 pounds, 1 ounce, 22 inches long. All right. This webinar is dedicated to Zachary William. Good night, everyone. See you in the morning. Thanks.